Nick Montgomery, welcome to A-League Access.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your being appointed head coach of the Central Coast Mariners. I just wanted to ask, was that something that you've always planned to become a coach as part of your football journey, or did you just fall into it as part of your football career?
No, I've always had a passion to be a coach once I finished the playing career. And look, towards the end of my playing career, I'd already started the coaching badges over in the UK with UEFA, and yeah, for me it was a natural transition to get into coaching. I've always enjoyed the mentoring side of it, and obviously the tactical side of it as well. So yeah, it was always the ambition. It's never easy, but yeah, delighted to be given the opportunity.
So Nick, you have been with the Central Coast Mariners for quite a while. I mean, the last 2 years of your career, you went to the Wollongong Wolves, but otherwise you were there a player when they won the last premiership, and then you became assistant coach. So it must be really special to have now your head coach role with the Mariners this season.
Yeah, look, I've been at the club for 9 years. You mentioned then when I sort of retired from professional football, fantastic NPL club, Wollongong Wolves, who, for me at some point in the future should be in the A-League. Great place, and really that was just to help with the transition from playing into coaching. And the club really helped me through that. I started coaching in the academy right at the young age, under 12s, under 16s, sort of learning the trade, and it's never easy. But look, the last couple of years I really enjoyed the development side of it with the under 23 squad, and yeah, for me it was I've always worked hard and finished the UEFA Pro license last year. So look, when the opportunity came up, I was really confident that I could apply for it, and I would have been one of the best applicants for the role. And unfortunately for myself, I went through the process with the club, and delighted that I've been given the opportunity.
Nick, speaking of the academy, you've been instrumental in the development of such fantastic young players like Matt Hatch, Dan Hall, Max Ballard, just to name a few. Of course, they're the defence for the side. Can we expect more youth team players, to get opportunities this season and complement the senior wise heads in the team, like Oliver Bozanic and Matt Simon and Mark Birigidi?
Well, yeah, look, you forgot the two that we actually sold overseas. Luke Wall, who's in Stuttgart now, and he's scoring goals every week for the reserve team there, and Jing Rees, who went to Denmark. So on top of the ones you mentioned, there's two there that we developed, developed within the academy, and are now living the dream overseas, which is what a lot of Australian players want to do. So in terms of being a coach, I see myself as a development coach. I love developing young players and seeing them get the opportunity to live the dreams like I did as a player. I came from a humble background and working class parents, and I always had a dream of being a footballer and playing in the Premier League. And I know what it takes. I know how hard it is. It's not easy, but if I can help players do that, like I've already had the pleasure in and been a part of a journey for quite a few young players that have broken into the A-League and gone overseas. But as a club, we need to be a club that develops players, that gives opportunities to young players, and that's what that's a big part of my vision, and the club's philosophy together is and the owner's philosophy is to do that. And I'll be working extremely hard to try and bring in the best young players from around the country, not only on the Central Coast, but around Australia. And we cast the net wide with the scouting network that I've built over the last couple of years, and people that I trust within different states to identify players that have the potential, like a Luke Wall coming from Melbourne, and within 12 months he's over in Stuttgart. So look, that's a success story. It's not always that easy. There is a lot.
You must be so proud, Nick. You must feel that sort of sense of ownership and pride that these were my kids. I developed. I helped them grow.
Yeah, obviously I've got 3 kids myself at home, but I feel like all these young boys that we coach there, I'm like a father figure to them. Not only football, but look, I had some fantastic mentors during my career in managers like Neil Warnock, Brian Robson, people like Brian Kidd. I'm talking world-class coaches that have coached at the highest level, but the way that they worked was always people orientated and understanding the players are human and obviously looking after them. But look, they need, like kids, they need to be told off when they're not doing it right, and hopefully they learn from it and don't do it again. But look, I think that's part of the development as a person and as well as a footballer.
Well, you talk about development of the young players, so you need some kind of leadership there within the team as well. And one of those players I want to ask you about is Nikolai Müller, who joined the Central Coast Mariners now from Western Sydney Wanderers. And he played more than 160 matches back in the German Bundesliga on a very top level. So where do you see him this season in terms of leadership, but also on the pitch?
Well, Nikolai is a fantastic player. During his time at Wanderers, he came over to Wanderers as a marquee player, and the boy he's got so much quality. But look, football is football. Sometimes you go to a club and it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. But in terms of Nikolai's journey to come to the Mariners, I was made aware of Nikolai had left Wanderers. I spoke to his agent and I just said, look, put me on a call with him. I want to have a chat to him. Financially, we can't offer what the other clubs can offer, but look, what we can offer him is an opportunity to come and enjoy his football. And look, after 30 minutes on the phone to Nikolai, it was very clear to me that he was a player that we wanted to bring to the club, and his leadership and his passion of helping young players as well. And look, he's been an absolute breath of fresh air. He's been fantastic. And to have, like you said, to have a player like him with that caliber to join the other experienced players that we've got on the leadership, for me was a massive coup. And I'm really excited to see how Nikolai can perform this year in the A-League. And I think he's going to be a fantastic player for the club.
So 30 minutes was enough to be convinced on each side?
I'd probably say 3 minutes, but yeah, the phone call went for 30 minutes, and my assistant Sergio, he can speak fluent German, so I think that helped as well. He had a good chat in German where I had no idea what they were saying, but it sounded like a good conversation.
Very good.
Nick,
they're probably talking about Wiener Schnitzel or something like that. You don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Nick, in terms of your appointment, which came in July, I believe, such unprecedented times, and it's really difficult, obviously, with the COVID situation across the country. Has that impacted on pre-season training and your planning for the upcoming season? Of course, the FFA Cup was postponed, so where are you at with all of your plans and preparation?
Yeah, look, I think my wife said it the other night, actually. She went, "Oh, typical for you to get your first job and you're in the middle of a pandemic." And, in terms of the challenges, it has been challenging. Obviously, I'm a coach that loves playing games of football. And, ideally, I would have played as many games as possible over pre-season. But, we haven't been allowed to do that. We're not allowed to organise any games. So, yeah, it's been difficult on that side of it. It is a long pre-season in Australia. And to come to the end of the week and work hard all week, and at the end of it, there's no game. That's why you want to be a footballer. You want to play in them games. You want that competitiveness. But we've had to try and manufacture that internally. But playing against each other and your teammates every week, it's not the same. It's not as exciting. You go when you play football. For me, when you cross that white line, you go into battle. It's a war against the opposition. But do you really want to war against your own players, who are your friends and teammates that you play against every day? So look, it's.
So are you actually in a bubble? Are you not allowed to associate with any other clubs? How is it working at the moment? Do you just sort of stick together and just keep training amongst yourselves, like you've just said, or? I mean, how is it all working with the pandemic? Are you just excluded from being part of anything else?
Yeah, look, we're under strict COVID protocol, so it is a bubble. Essentially, it's a bubble where we come in every morning. We have to get the temperature checks. We have to get COVID tested every couple of weeks. We have to fill in questionnaires every day. We have to make sure that that we're all being cautious, that we come to training, we go home, and other than that, try and stay away from public places and places where exposure sites are, because the reality is if one person gets COVID and brings it into the club, then obviously we're going to be shut down for a number of weeks, and that would really impact on pre-season. So it has been challenging, but yeah, look, what I do say to the players every day is just think how lucky we are to be in training. You know, everybody's people of businesses are closed down, they can't work, kids can't play sport. So, you know, we're the fortunate ones, and that's what I push across to the players every day. But look, they come in every day with a smile on their face, they love training, and they're really, really enjoying it. But, you know, as a professional sportsman, you want that competitiveness of playing games against opposition. So look, we're hopeful in the next 4 to 5 weeks that might be the case to play you know, A-League trial games. And then the FFA Cup again was postponed. You know, you see that Brisbane played last week against the team in Brisbane, and we're not even allowed to play a friendly game. So it's a little bit different for everybody. But I think what we always say is that we can only control what we can control, and that's come in training hard every day and prepare as well as we can, so that when the restrictions do ease, we can try and get in a couple of games before the A-League starts.
I mean, let's hope, as you said, as the A-League starts one day, we can have a normal season. Regarding the aim for the season, the Mariners had a quite successful one last season, so made it to the elimination finals, unfortunately lost against MacArthur. So how big do you see is the pressure to repeat that or even get better, semi-final or even the grand final? What's your goal?
The goal is to have, you know, as much as a successful season, you know, as we can. And for me, that, you know, if you don't start the season wanting to win everything, then you're in the wrong job. You know, there's obviously some good teams in the league, some with a lot more power than us financially. But you know, a team's never won anything on names on a piece of paper. So, you know, at the end of the day, I've assembled a good squad with a good balance of youth and experience. And I think, you know, and I'm confident we can compete against everybody in the league. You know, you do need a bit of luck, and you know, you need to get that momentum which the team got last year. But you know, we had a young kid that came from nowhere, in Lewis Freeman, that came off the bench and got a number of points early on in the season. And then we had a lot of the young players coming through, so that was real positive for the club. But I'm under no illusions this season is going to be harder. You know, the recruitment of the big clubs, as I say, you know, has been very astute, bringing a lot of the top Australian boys back from overseas. You've only got to look at the recruitment at West Sydney Wanderers, Melbourne City, MacArthur, you know, your teams like that, and Sydney FCs, where, you know, everybody's really pushing this year. And I think that transition of the owners taking over the league now and the new APL coming in, I think people can see the excitement for the next couple of years, and we can really grow football in Australia. So to be part of that's exciting. And yeah, I'm confident going into the season we can compete with everybody. And if we do that, then, you know, I don't see why we can't build on what we did last season and give it a good crack again.
Sorry, George, yeah.
No, you go.
Which team do you see as to be the chased one? Melbourne City as the defending champions. They got Matthew Leckie now as well. Who do you see on top?
Look, Melbourne City were fantastic last season. I think they played a really intense brand of football. And I did my UEFA Pro license with Patrick Kisnorbo, so I know he's a passionate guy. I think he's a very good friend of mine. But you know, come match day this season, you know, we'll be battling against each other, which will be, you know, which will be a good experience. But look, again, they've got a fantastic squad. You talk about Matthew Leckie there. They, you know, brought in some quality players, and they've kept a lot of quality players that they had from last season. So, you know, again, like I said, West Sydney Wanderers have recruited well. Melbourne Victory and Tony Popovich, you know, he's brought in a lot of experience. And everybody seems to, you know, recruited well and been backed by the club as well. So look, it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a really exciting season, and yeah, I think everybody's going to be desperate to get back and watch football after this lockdown and pandemic that we're in. So, you know, you know, there's massive season ahead, and hopefully it can start, you know, when it's planned.
Nick, you mentioned that your team has a great blend of youth and senior leadership there. One of the players for me that comes to mind is Oliver Bozanic. He's again the captain this season. You've played with him before, and when you've won the last premiership. Does that make things a lot easier for you as a first-time coach of a senior A-League team?
Yeah, look, again, you look at through the squad, Oliver Bozanic, a fantastic leader, great work rate, top professional. And then on top of that, you got Matty Simon, who for me is the heartbeat of the club. We saw last season, even at his age, some of the goals he scores, I think, you know, as a number 9 talisman that he is for the club. no defenders like playing against him. You know, and in and around that, we've got some young legs to really do that. You know, to do that running, and look, get balls in the box from Matty Simon, and he'll score you goals. And you know, on top of that, you know, Birighitti, Ruan Tonic, Kai Rolls, again, these are experienced A-League players. Even though they're still young, they've got good experience. So you know, I could name a number of people, a number of players, and then throw Nikolai Muller on top of that, Marco Sciarena, that have played international football at a top level. And the mix of young players around them. It's exciting. You know, I'm excited every day I go to training. I love being in. I love seeing the boys come in, and they're always just desperate to get out on the training ground and get into the session. So, you know, like I said, I think we've got a really good blend, and yeah, really looking forward to the season.
So with the team that you have so far, would you say you're complete? I mean, you have 4 visa players now at the moment, or do you have in mind to get any additional players?
Yeah, look, we've still got to meet the minimum requirement on the roster. So yeah, that's always that, you know, that's a challenge. But look, we've possibly got 1 more visa player coming in. Again, that's not confirmed. But on top of that, I think we've got another 2 spots remaining to make the minimum 18 on the roster requirement. And then we've got a couple of scholarships funded by an investor who's, you know, really passionate about youth development, and he's been supporting the club. So look, I think it's important, you know, we don't have, like I said, the resources of other clubs, but if we can identify them young players that can add to the numbers in the squad, you know, it is a long season, and you got to be prepared. You got to have strength in depth, and you know, ideally to have 2 players in every position is the aim. You know, it's not always that easy. You might end up with, you know, 3 players, 4 players in one position, and you know, have to utilise players elsewhere. But it's also been very difficult to bring anybody on trial. One thing I am passionate about as well is the NPL system, and looking at the players that are currently in NPL clubs. We did have a scouting document with players from all over the country, but it's just been impossible to get them in, unfortunately. You know, due to the pandemic, it's just been impossible. So it's a real shame for them. I feel frustrated for some of them good young players that have not been given the opportunity to trial this year. But you know, the reality is the league is going to start in a number of weeks, and yeah, they'll probably have to wait until next year. But like I said, put a scouting network in place to keep an eye on them players and track them, you know, over next season. So yeah, it's got its challenges, but a couple more players, and yeah, we'll be complete and ready to go. Yeah.
Final question, George.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nick, I'm fascinated by what you said at the beginning of the interview. You've been mentored and influenced by some of the greats of the English game, Brian Kidd, Brian Robson. What can we expect from Nick Montgomery as a first-time A-League coach? What can we see from the sidelines? Will you be combustible, combative, animated?
Well, anybody that knows me knows I'm passionate, knows I'm a competitor, knows that I'm passionate. And then, like you said, I think as a coach, the people that you've worked with, you know, they really do mold you into, you know, into who you are when you become a coach, and you take the good things and you get rid of the bad things. And I've seen plenty of both. So I think for me, yeah, I'm passionate. I want to win games of football. I want to score goals, and again, you know, that's the hardest thing in sport is to win and score goals. But on the other side of that, you have to defend the goal like life depends on it. And what you will see from my team is you'll see a lot of fight. And I think the Mariners is built on fighting spirit, and is built on young players being developed, and you know, is a real. People talk about culture all the time. It's a fantastic word, but when you actually understand it. You know, for me, it's a real family club, and the culture is making the Central Coast proud, and the people of the coast, you know, they're fantastic. They support the club, you know, through thick and thin, and there's been challenges, but like I said, I think the main thing everyone can expect from you know, my team and the Central Coast Mariners is that every time we put that badge on, everyone will go out and we'll fight for everything until the end. So that's one thing that I hope that can be seen next year, every game.
Great.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Nick, for joining us tonight.
No problem,
and,
anytime.
All the best this season with the Central Coast Mariners. We're looking forward to seeing you coach another good season for the Mariners, and I'm looking forward to seeing the brass band as well. Hopefully they're in good form as well this season.
Yeah, no doubt they'll be buzzing around the stands and geeing the boys up, Mark. Look, really appreciate your time and your support, and yeah, look forward to seeing you again sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good
very
luck,
much, Nick. Good luck. All
Thank
the
you,
best
Nick.
to you and
Guys.
the players.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.